as our hero walks into the scene. He sits his big ass down. Hey, really and truly, fuck them kids. I'm on my Grinch energy today with it. I mean, to be very honest, what we're seeing right now in our community is just a bunch of bullshit. We're seeing things where men are almost not even pressured, but we're shamed into taking care of kids that really aren't ours, or we're shamed into taking care of not kids but situations that really are not our fault. They're not because of us. We do not get anything from it. We're getting issues where on a regular basis that we can't even talk about. We can't even talk about our grievances and the issues that we have. So I come to you all today and just say, fuck them kids. I know it's a very inflammatory statement. It is something that is, I think I used the word inflammatory right, but fuck that too. But it's one of those things where we see this all the time, that we're guilted into we're guilted into compliance. We're guilted into quote unquote doing the right thing. Really and truly, fuck them kids. If they're not your kids, if they're not your blood, fuck them. And I'm really getting tired of being treated as if I'm just some resource slave. Not even a sex slave. These bitches ain't fucking me. It's just like, and I've seen it in so many ways, man. I've seen it with homeboys where their girlfriend will call me and want to just talk about their homeboy and stuff like that. And I'm sitting, and I got on the phone with my homeboy the next day, and I said, bro, I was on the phone with your chick talking about you for X amount of time, and I ain't even fucked the bitch. What the fuck you got this? You know, like I went off and shit like that. And again, that's my fault. I let that happen. So now when men are starting to say things like, man, fuck it, I don't want to deal with single mothers, or I don't want to deal with this type of situation. It's not advantageous for me. You know, when men are saying these things, now it's a big problem. Now it's an issue. Now we're the bad guys. And it's just like, really and truly, it's gotten to the point where we just literally have to say, fuck them. Fuck everything about them. Fuck everything that they stand on. I'm not going to deal with it. I don't have to deal with it. I can actually put myself in a better position by just walking away. And literally, that's the only agency we have. Listening to a stream with Edward Anderson just the other day, and one thing he said that, you know, everything in terms of all the choice being chose, blah, 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 is all through that woman. And it's just like, wow, man. Like, we have no choice as men, in a sense, except for walking away. Except for saying we are not going to play this game. Now, how did it get to this? Well, we can go into history. We can watch a couple BGS videos as he masterfully dissects all this stuff. And we could see where the decision was made without us. And that's the problem. A decision was made that now we actually have to account for. We have to be accountable for, I should say. We have to deal with on a regular basis. Now we're looking at a decision that is not our own. It is not something that we can cover in any way, shape, or form. It is not something that we can also control once we've actually decided to take on that decision, or we take on the responsibility of that decision that was made before us, without us. My mom used to say this, you know, my mom used to have this saying, or like the way she responded to something. She would say, like, you know, me never did that when y'all fuck the gal. Like, she wasn't in the room when y'all was fucking. So it's not her problem. And my mother said this. Now, granted, my mother's nickname is Rambo. She's crazy, that's another story. But, you know, Jamaican mothers, it is what it is. If you know, you fucking know. So I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at everything that's around me, my environment currently, what I've built for myself, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. And I'm like, why would I even try and give up any little bit of peace that I have in my life because of decisions that someone else made? And then, say I go for it. Say I said, you know what? Nah, don't fuck them kids. Help them kids. Then, with all that being said, I still have no control over the discipline of those children. I have no control over other decisions for those children. I am expected to feed, shelter, and clothe those children. I don't think I said that even in the right order. Whatever. I'm expected to do all these things, and on Father's Day, it's still all about mom. There's nothing for the father. Nothing whatsoever. Not even a semblance of recognition. And some people will be like, well, it's a thankless job. You should be selfless. No. I am not being selfless for nothing. I remember I was watching a video, Pink Book Lessons, and I commented, I said, I'm tired of building up women. I don't want to build up women. I don't want to push you forward. I don't want to put you in the limelight and put you in a better position anymore. I've done that so many times. I've done that with my own family members, my sister. I've done that with girlfriends, one of my last girlfriends, where I tried to help her make a t-shirt company, and I had to want it more than her. Who hurt you? Them motherfuckers did. That's who hurt me. Deal with it, bitch! That's how I feel. If you want to talk to who hurt you shit, it is what it is. We have learned from our experiences as men. Other men have learned from the experiences of other men. Now they're looking at what's going on and we're saying, hey, we want no part of this. We don't want to deal with this at all whatsoever. We just want to live our lives. If y'all fucking, we fucking. If not, then fine. I say it all the time. I could buy a bad bitch for $100. If it ain't you, boo, it's somebody else. But these rocks will get off. Regardless. I know, I'm being a little bit crash, or a little bit rough here. But I was listening to, and I might start a whole series on this maybe, but I was listening to, what's her name? SCA, SZA. And I was listening to her Control album. Now, in computer science or in AI building, there's something that talks about an AI, building an AI that can build a better AI. So that gets into machine learning, artificial intelligence, and things like that. So you write an AI that learns to write its successor. And then from that point on, its successor writes the next one, blah, 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 it improves. Essentially just being human. So, you have a child, you program that child to be a better you in the next iteration, no matter what happened, right? So I'm listening to the first song in Control, and SZA's Control album, which I love that album. I think it's masterful. But we have to look at the lyrics. That was out in 2017. This is kind of when I kind of got into like the black side of manosphere or what have you. I was in the MGTOW space and stuff like that. Still coming out of the blue pill mindset. But yeah, because I think MGTOW, I really started getting into that 2015, 2016. Probably even a little bit, yeah, probably around 2015. And that was right when I turned 30. And I was just seeing a couple things I just didn't like about myself, and I didn't like about what was happening to me in relationships, so on and so forth, and I thought it was just total BS, right? So this is a album. It opens up with what seems like it's her mother, and her mother was talking about how if she lost control, she felt that she would die. This is how deeply some women think about having control over a situation, whether it be a relationship, actually any type of relationship, or even a situationship. They want to have so much control. Now, the reason why I bring this up in terms of programming a better AI, programming a better person, let's talk about programming better fuckery. Let's talk about programming in the next level of feminism, of these ideas where female and feminine independence and stuff like that. And we could see how this is something I call the third waveism or the third wave effect. The third wave of any movement actually is so far away from the first wave, it's not even funny. It's not even linear, it's almost exponential. So if I start off with a 1 degree change here, by the time it gets to you, I'm off by a couple million degrees, or off by a large amount, right? So that means in terms of mileage, if I'm off by 45 degrees by the time I get to you, that could be anywhere from 200 to 300 miles, but I started off running towards you, right? And it's kind of how I understand it and explain it. But it's an exponential change in the way, or an exponential change away from the original tenets of a movement. We're seeing this in MGTOW. We're seeing it in feminism, where third wave feminism is not about equal opportunity. It's more about equal opportunity and equal rights. Now in third wave feminism, it's really about equity, and it's really about doing more, or getting more, and putting in less, which is quote unquote unfair. When you listen to the SZA album and all the things that she's saying in the different songs, real niggas don't deserve pussy. Forrest Gump had a lot going for him, and Jenny gave it all up for him. If you looked at the movie Forrest Gump and how she looked at Forrest and how he was less than and wasn't deserving of her, but in some way, somehow Jenny was in need, and Forrest should help her and help her child. And supposedly the child at the end is Forrest Gump's, I think is the case. But this is after Jenny went on her escapade and she did all her wild stuff and she was out there, right? She was in these streets. But somehow Forrest is supposed to come in and be the cleanup man, if you will. He wasn't good enough to stay with. He wasn't good enough to actually be with for a long time and work with her and build a family with her. Now, in that movie, Jenny's been abused, I believe, sexually, and that's the whole story about her throwing the rock at the house and essentially destroying that and throwing it at her old childhood that was ruined by sexual assault. When you look at the SZA album, essentially what's happening is, and I talked to Edward Anderson about this, it's a form of hypnosis. It's a form of programming the next generation, the listeners of these songs, programming them to think that it's okay to want what they want, the way they want it, with no type of repercussions, no type of accountability, no type of responsibility, and they could be quote-unquote the victim. Now, you could say the same thing for rap. Guys, you can go ahead and do a breakdown on the guy side of that as well, because we could see how men would actually go into that mode of thinking and how they would actually disrespect women and treat them in a horrible fashion, in a bad way, and then how that breeds the next generation of men, the next generation of fuckboys, and the next generation of ain't shit bitches, right? So it's like you could see how all this happens and how this music is programming the next level, the next iteration of the fuckery that we're all going through. And that's the point I'm trying to fucking make here. At some point, you have to say, you made the decision, that's what you wanted, fuck them kids. And them kids could be the actual kids, and I'll expand it, them kids could be fuck the results that you got. That's what you got. Deal with it. That's your problem, not mine. I'm not fixing it. Let somebody else subsidize you. Let somebody else help you. Let somebody else put you up on a pedestal and build you up. Fuck that. I'm not doing it. I've done it for women in the past, and all I've gotten is betrayal. Who hurt you? Them bitches did. And if that's how you feel about it, and that's all you want to how you want to boil it down to, and say, hey, listen, who hurt you? They hurt me. Plain and simple. And because of that, as a human being, as a human animal, as an animal with a larger brain, or an animal that lives in complex systems and tries to find his way through complex systems, and looks at this as an animal that has experienced things and says, hey, I don't want to touch that hot stove anymore, then they hurt me, that's it, leave me the fuck alone. Leave me and other men like me alone. I'm not going to fuck with you, I'm not going to play around with you, I'm not going to do anything that's going to harm you in any way, shape, or form. You see me, unless you need to, don't interact with me. You already don't. I mean, you could also say the reason why a lot of these women wear these bonnets, these pajamas, and don't look anywhere near presentable or approachable in terms of being attractive or dressing attractively out in the open is simply because they already think you ain't shit. You're not good enough for them to dress any better. That's what bonnets mean. And this ain't a fucking bonnet. This is a tom. This is the headdress of my people. One love. We could go deeper into it. We could talk more about it. We can have all these back and forths with these new people that are coming into the space. We could play these games for the people that have been in the space for a long period of time and they want to act like it's something brand new and they still want to argue these points because somehow we're supposed to get it. We're supposed to change our minds and they're supposed to just, go through life or get through all of this without actually having to make any changes to their life. We can do all those things. But it'll be a waste of time. We've wasted so much time in our lives worrying about other people, worrying about other people's kids, fulfilling our own sexual desires and needs, only to end up in our 30s, either childless or relationshipless, and having a baby mother or maybe having a spouse that doesn't love us as much as we think they do. I think that's sad. I think that's a serious problem. And I think that's life. It is what it is. You can choose to deal with it if you want. I still want kids, but I'm also thinking about adoption and surrogacy at this point. I think that's a sad thing. I literally have a school right there and I can look at it from here. I have a house, I have land, I have all these things. And at the end of the day, still, nothing to fill it with. The only way I can fill it is if I go full Smurgo and just say, hey, they are who they are, deal with them as you wish. That's what you got, deal with it. And to that, I said fuck them kids, man. They already said fuck them with the decisions that they made. So all you have to do is look at their actions and you can see clearly these women have already said fuck them kids. Now it's up to you to say it. With that being said, thanks for listening. I hope you appreciated the view. I hope this thing is actually recording. If it's not, then fuck me.